Mr. Trixie Romper Roo was the best cat I ever knew. And he came into my life suddenly. He chose me. I swear he chose me. People say that, but I feel like he chose me. And then as quickly as he came, he departed. And it happened in a moment's notice. The last memory I have of Mr. Trixie Romper Roo was out in the backyard, and he was flying through the air, capturing grasshoppers. And I just was delighted by him in that moment and so many other moments that I had with him. Mr. Trixie Romper Roo, formerly known as simply as Trixie, because I thought he was a she when I first met him. I had gone to the hot springs to soak. It was at the end of the day. They were doing maintenance on the hot springs. I'd never experienced this before. It's always easily come into the hot springs and no big deal. Suddenly, on this day, no soaking. But as I went to get back into my car, I heard this mewing it sounded like a kitten. So I went and searched through the grass to find this little orange and white puffball. It was just a puffball, and he ran away from me, and I squatted down and asked him if he wanted to come closer, see if he was like really feral. And then I just sat down on the ground, and I was wearing a long skirt, and he came closer and closer, and then he crawled up underneath my skirt, and we just hunkered down. And he was just fluff, just this little fluff ball. And I hung out there for a while to see if he would go away, and he stayed. And then I asked him if he wanted to come home with me, and he did. And so I brought him home. And I happened to have some cat food in the house because I'd had another cat, and he was a voracious eater right from the beginning. He must have been starving. I mean, he was like lightweight, just a fluff. And he put on weight fairly quickly, and he was just a racing around the house right from the beginning, and also a snuggler. And I've had lots of really good cats before, but never a full-on, like, real snuggler. And I said, next cat that I have, I want it to be a snuggler. And I haven't given myself the gift of having a pet in a very long time. And some of that I found out through that it's actually an attribute of anxiety. That at some point, or childhood trauma, at some point, we started to distrust ourselves, the universe, other people, and we made the case that love wasn't trustworthy, that we couldn't trust love. I think this is a big piece why this practice is so important to me. And one of my spiritual teachers, Yeshua, he and I were talking about love, and he said, you do it. You just do it. And I go, but I don't know what it is. I don't understand it, and I want to understand it. And he said, don't worry about that. Just keep doing what you're doing. And I want to understand it, right? Well, when I was in this really intense experience of my life, and nothing else was working, none of the other tools were working, this is where the practice came from. Breathe in love. Breathe out love. That's it. I did just that for a while. And then it started to formulate itself into other pieces of the puzzle, of which I share in the full meditation series. And I'll probably share it again. Because I feel that it's really important, but I also know that the simplicity of one word, just that one word, is really helpful when you are in trouble. And you know you're in trouble and nothing else is working. You're trying the breathing meditations and forcing yourself to exercise and trying to think positive and override the negative thoughts that are coming into your mind. And reframing things, and you're doing all the things that the gurus say to do, and none of it's working. You're just shaking inside, and you want to run away, and you don't know where to go, and it just feels awful. Love is the answer. That word, let that word come between you and the roiling thoughts, and the runaway thoughts, and the disassociating from yourself, from your body. You're disappearing out there somewhere, not present here in this body, because whatever's happening in your body and in your mind is too painful and too overwhelming. So you just cut and run. I know that game. So I'm in the middle of being at the home of my childhood, working a job in a Mexican restaurant. I don't even like Mexican food, but it was what was available to me where I could make good money quick. And so I did it. And I was at the home of my childhood, and I used that opportunity to collect the parts of myself that I had abandoned and left back there. And there were a lot of tears. And I tried all the practices that I have ever received, and it still wasn't helping. I was still overwhelmed and angry about all of it. Angry. But why was I here? How did this happen again? And that's when this word came through. Now, Yeshua and I had been talking about it, and he had said, you do it naturally. But I didn't know how. I didn't know how. It was naturally happening. Other people were seeing and experiencing it, but I was experiencing all of this anger and frustration and hate within me, and I needed relief from that. And then it just became clear to me that love is the answer. Using that word like Mel Robbins used, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up and do something. This was take a breath. Remember, recognize. Point 1, self-awareness. I've checked out. I'm really fucking angry right now. I am spewing in my head all these hateful words, and I don't want that for myself or the world. So I have to disrupt that thinking process immediately. Love. Gives you space. And it's more than just the breath. It's more than just the breath. It's a word that has been imbibed with some information for a long, long time by masters of love. Our masters, Muhammad, Jesus, Buddha, they were the embodiment of love. That's why their lessons and messages have lived on, because they walked it and they talked it. And they give us lots of ways to get there, but if nothing else is working, just try the word love. So here I am doing the inner child work, doing the calling in my younger self work, and I'm trusting the process. I'm trusting Dr. Russ. He's walking his talk. You can tell, you can feel it in him. And some of it's working really well, and some I'm still struggling with. And along comes this cat, this kitten. And I put that little baby in my arms, and I rocked that baby. He laid out in my arms and just let me cuddle him and nurture him and love on him. And what he gave back in return was purrs and fluff that I got against my skin. I miss him. I miss seeing what wild, wonderful creature he would have grown into with all that personality. He was a wild jumper, racing around the house, or a romper. That's how he got his name. First I thought he was a girl, came upon the name Trixie from that. And then when I realized he was a boy, Romper Roo, because he was like a kangaroo. And just power, just a powerhouse of a jumper. And just personality. I felt that he just jumped and leaped through the house with just love and joy. And he brought me back to my childlike self. Every morning I would get up and play with him. That was a reason to get up. Get up and play with him and get him leaping in the air and play off some of that energy that he had. And it gave me energy. And then I would cuddle with him and he would climb into my lap while I was doing things, and sometimes he drove me crazy. And in those times, just like the child that's alarm in our body, as Dr. Russ talks about, that child that's within us that's trying to alert us, alarm us that something isn't right for them, that they're afraid, that we need to give them a little bit of attention and acknowledge that they're there, that they exist. Alarm often shows up in my arms or the back of my neck or in my legs feeling like they've disappeared. Whew. Just touching my own body, touching into that alarm, and then coming back and comforting myself here, right here, over my heart. And giving myself what I need. Mr. Trixie Romper Roo taught me a lot about love in the short time that he was here with me. And he also taught me about loss. That we have to take the risk to live and love again, even though the people we love and lose may not be in our life for very long. That what they are here to teach us, to give us, to offer us, to share with us is worth it. To expand ourselves into the possibilities and potentials of love. Mr. Trixie Romper Roo. I love that cat. I've had great cats. I've never had a cat with that much personality. And I'm blessed I have pictures of him, and now I have this video that I get to share with you to remind you to just keep breathing, even when you're overwhelmed by the loss. Whatever you've lost. If you've lost a job that you loved, that it felt like your calling. If you lost a person or a pet. Loss is loss and grief is grief, and some of the losses and grief that we experience are so devastating. Some of them open us up so beautifully that it's such a tragedy to experience the loss on the other side, but it expanded us, and it's not worth it to let ourselves collapse and really let the loss of our expansion take place. We have to find our way back through the breath, to find our way back to ourselves, which is love. So we keep breathing it in, and we keep bringing it through us. And we trust that we can hold this much love and more. Because that's the other piece. Can I hold this much love again? Is it possible for me to hold this much love and more? And I say yes. Yes, it is. And it's worth it, and you should take the risk and do it. Because that's what we're here for. That's why we're on planet Earth. To love, to nourish the good, to see the love and the goodness in others, that goodness and love that others are bringing, and to see it and say it and nourish it. See the beauty, see the love, nourish it. That's what we're here for. That is a big piece of our purpose. And then there's something really special that we bring to planet Earth at the time that we're here, to help with the creation and expansion into beauty and into love. That's why we're here. So if you're wondering why you're here, I just gave you tons of clues. You still have your self-discovery quest, your wisdom gathering quest. You still have to do that to find out how to fulfill your divine blueprint, your purpose here on planet Earth. And I'm here to help. And I'm gathering others who are here to help also, because I'm a curator as much as I am a creator. That I don't have all the answers. That I take the best of the best that is given to me, and I expand on it in the way that I can. This is what I encourage you to do. But then I also attribute to those who I found to help me develop myself, expand into my creativity and my purpose, as Mr. Trixie Romper Roo did for me. So that's my story for today, about a cat who changed my life, a cat who brought me back to love, was quintessential in me finding my way back to love. And I'll forever be grateful to that cat. And I wish he was still here, and he's not, and I still express my love and gratitude to him, as I am expressing my love and gratitude for you, for being here, sharing in my stories, and being inspired to find your own stories like these to share with the world, because it does make a difference when we share the good stuff as well as the troubling stuff. And the troubling stuff, it's important too. We have to work the shadow side and the light side. We're both and more than that even. So cheers to the opportunity to find yourself, and enjoy the adventure while you're at it. So we'll be in touch soon. Take care till then.